So, this is Classic and ByuN in a best of 3. Again, a little awkward because we already kind of saw Game 3 because it was ready. You know, they finished up Game 2 and then it was ready. So we kind of, like I say, obviously we're casting these from earlier in the qualifier. We kind of know the result, but sometimes the games are just cool and fun enough and good enough to justify casting them anyway, right? So, that's what we're going to do here. In the top left-hand corner from Shopify Rebellion, it is ByuN. Yeah, WardiTV Korean Royale Qualifier. And obviously, he is qualified now alongside Classic because this is a semi-final matchup. The semi-finals played out as there's a difference in prize money up at the top. So, there is that. So, let's see what's going to go down. Get this ready. I just want to make a note myself, sorry guys. So I just wanted to write a quick note for myself so don't forget to do something later. It just popped in my mind as we opened in this game. I was like, oh my god! As we get set, we do have, well, the probes producing and just going to be seeing barracks coming down on the other side of the map. The gateway setting up on the side of Classic. And getting this game number 1 on the way here to begin with. Cybercore, Nexus, just building up as we get going. The natural getting established, going to drop a pylon into the front here as well, our orbital command. And it's just going to be building as the CC comes online. So, very normal, very standard, nothing really too crazy to shout about in the very first few moments. Obviously, ByuN likes to play quite aggressive sometimes. I always feel like it's fun to watch Classic play. I always feel Classics are very, the kind of play that you don't quite know what's coming next from him. Right? He has a lot of different styles. He plays a lot of his own kind of different things. He is a difficult player to kind of know what to expect from. And, if I go into this series and I tell you what to expect from Classics PvT, I actually don't know if I've really seen much of Classics PvT lately. You go Stargate here, but yeah, I'm thinking back and we must have seen some amount of it in Katowice, right? But can't quite recall. He actually played ByuN in Katowice, did he not? Did he beat ByuN in Katowice? He did, right? I feel like I casted that, actually. In the group stages, and Classic was already out, and then... Or am I just going crazy? Am I mixing up my Protoss players? No, now I'm double guessing myself. Ay. They were in the same group, weren't they? They played on the last day. Yes. Classic 2-0'd ByuN. I cast it with Roddy. I knew I did. That's a pretty solid series. I'm trying to think what he actually did in that series. I just remember it being quite convincing. ByuN just couldn't kind of... ByuN felt like he just kind of died. And it was kind of important for ByuN because a win could have given him a better seed and a better playoff spot. So he didn't have to necessarily play against Cyril in the first round. And then maybe the entire StarCraft history would have changed. Because maybe ByuN would have played Oliveira. Maybe that would have gone differently. And who knows what the hell else. The Marine's going to grab the Adept. A few more gathering up. And just going to be seeing the Medevac. Wouldn't mind a couple more Marines. All of that coming through. Hey, wouldn't mind moving down the ramp and back up. What happened now? I'm really bugged that I can't remember the fact that I cast it with Roddy. It wasn't a great series. I remember it was a pretty fast series. If I cast it with, if I asked Roddy, he would tell me instantly. Feels bad, man. Alright, anyways, it is Phoenix here from Classic, and he scouts out a little bit with this first one to the side, checking for no proxy, but otherwise, gonna stack these up and hope to catch something just like this. The Widow Mine drop coming across the map. Get on top of this, shut down that Medevac, get rid of these Widow Mines ASAP, and stop this from ever becoming a problem. The Phoenix going to reveal just as these mines are going to get ready to unload. Then we can lift and stop the cancel. We will kill one mine, we will be able to kill the other, and we can begin to chase down the Medevac, which, as long as you have vision of it, should never get away here. Obviously, the boost gives it a little bit of distance, but the Phoenix can catch up. It's just unlikely that you'd ever actually be able to get all the way away, because the Phoenix have caught up to you. So unless you had something else moving forward, like these Marines, obviously those Marines could have maybe caught a Phoenix, had the Phoenix, not gotten there in time. It was kind of close, I guess, in the end because of the shortness of the map. Oh, it's going to be a dead Phoenix right there. It's getting a little bit too aggressive, just diving in for some information there, Classic. That was an unnecessary Phoenix to lose, I think. Just didn't really have to see that dropping down. He's going to turn this into a Robo-Bay and start looking towards Colossi. So Phoenix Colossus. I always feel like Phoenix Colossus is one of those styles which ByuN it's very anti-ByuN style, right? You know, ByuN loves to be that player who is aggressive and dropping and just active on the map, taking trades. Phoenix Colossus expands slowly. It kind of sets up a lot of tech. It's hard to attack into. The Phoenix deny your drops a lot of the time. It's very difficult to be super aggressive against it. It's one of the biggest benefits of playing Phoenix Colossus. It's a bit slower going. It's a bit more passive. You know, apart from the little bit of Phoenix harass, but that's kind of what's good about it. And like I say, to me, it's the sort of style that ByuN probably likes playing against the least. But in this day and age, you've got to be good against Phoenix Colossi, otherwise people would, you know, you'd just never win a game of StarCraft. So it's not an issue for ByuN, it's just, compared to how ByuN loves to play, I feel like it does become a little bit problematic, perhaps. Our units will just gather up on the front of the third base then. Obviously, our first Colossus popping shortly. We're going to have probably 2 Colossi before ByuN's realistically across the map, considering ByuN's Stimpak's just over halfway being done. Medevac's popping soon, and the second Colossus is now producing. With 2 Colossi, you should be fairly safe in terms of having enough splash damage to turn things away, turn attacks down, and just keep yourself in a pretty reasonable position. A little bit of Bio will begin to press toward the center. So Bio coming through, Cyclone, and a couple of Ravens coming up as well. Heading down to the bottom right side. We'll see the Cyclone there going to get picked off pretty quickly. Bit of Bio starting to come in. Zealots taking some damage. You actually drop a Matrix onto a Colossus as well. Now our Medevacs is going to load up and peel away out down to the south side. Just going to have ourselves these Medevacs then making their play across to the bottom. Well, as ByuN just sets him in this end, he's got the double Raven still, so he can shut down some of the Colossi. This drop's going to knock down 3 gateways, potentially, if you get rid of all of these pylons. We could just kill some of the gateways, too. Looks like he wants to get out, though, with the Colossus showing up. And also because the Phoenix are out, he wants to get out in plenty of time, so the Phoenix don't actually have a chance to kill these Medevacs, but ByuN might just be kind of trapped here, these drops. Yeah, didn't even fully unload there. Now he's going to lose them without getting everything out again. The Sentry gets the killing blow. And obviously he didn't really do anything at the front. Disaster from ByuN. Look at the resources lost. He just lost a ton of units and he's killed basically nothing, considering one of the Phoenix went down earlier as well. That drop was an absolute disaster. It looked so good initially. I think the problem was deciding to lift up instead of just making the most of it in the main. Sometimes it's good to try and get out, but obviously he needed to lift up and just boost the hell away and then unload elsewhere. Unloading over here just meant that the Zealots came in. And obviously I understand the Phoenix on top of you, you're worried, but yeah, that was just, you know, the sequence of events that played out just meant the way that ByuN tried to handle the drop was really just the wrong way of handling it. Unfortunately, puts him into a pretty bad position. So ByuN will fall behind a little. How's our Bio, our Ravens, everything else just gathering up still, and he will get himself... I mean, again, it's a shame he couldn't find a fight because he has the Ravens, and the Ravens can shut down those Colossi. The earlier you do that, the more powerful you become because, you know, earlier in the game here, these Colossi are a much more meaningful unit as part of this army. The further it goes, the more you have to, you know, other tools and other ways to kind of survive. The Colossi are shut offline for 8 seconds. So yeah, really just a kind of a double whammy shame, and I wonder if the Ravens might even think about the possibility of going to harass. Probably not with Phoenix on the map. That's a stupid statement, Wardy. He is going to miss the prism moving forwards, though. He sees the army coming to the rocks. So he's going to pull everything away from the main. Realistically, it's the worst time to pull away from the main because it should be when you're most expecting a potential prism to show up. So that is going to come in now. Maybe I could... Obviously, the Ravens being at the front makes sense, but I think the Vikings leaving is just a little bit sad. Anyways, it's not going to be too major. Just lost mining time, really. A couple of gazelles that do unload. We'll begin to go down. Are we actually going to be able to kill that ghost? We might be able to. Ooh, micro from ByuN saves himself the ghost. Obviously, every unit counts for quite a lot when considering that ByuN traded so badly earlier on. And especially as Classic is kind of lurking around ByuN's front door, sort of saying, hey, you know, I want to kind of make my way in here. I kind of want to win this one out right here and right now. So Classic is going to set up. Just going to see the couple of additional Zealots warping in, and in we go. A couple of feedbacks immediately on the Ravens, so there goes one of the only tools I think that ByuN had to realistically bring him big back into this game. His EMPs were really good, yes, but he needed something on top of the EMPs, right? This army is just massive. The Winter Mines are starting to do a lot. Now the Colossi are kind of properly getting into position and properly beginning to help out themselves, and that's just going to be over after the early game. As we do have in the top right, we'll get back into it. Our Red Terran player, Shopify, Rebellions, ByuN. Playing altitude, big map. Oftentimes a veto for Terran players just with the size of the map, although in TvP, a massive map can still be tough sometimes, but maybe it gives you more room to kind of drop around like crazy. I feel like the base kind of layout on this map as well can be quite good for kind of dropping between bases a lot, so maybe that's something ByuN was supposed to try and utilize a bit. Obviously, Classic is in the bottom left, our Blue Protoss player. See what he comes up with. Like I say, just playing that Phoenix Colossus game 1. Getting off to a good start, just really defending. Do you know what Phoenix Colossus does when ByuN tries to attack? He defended very well, got a full cleanup on everything, puts him in an amazing position moving forward from there. Probe comes up, nibbles a little bit. Just gonna have SCV coming around, just nibble that probe for the moment. And that probe is gonna go down. It's probably actually getting caught by the fact that this is a Marine. Marine spawns sooner than a Reaper, so if the probe was sticking around to find out if this was a Reaper, then it just kind of gets caught by the Marine. That's obviously why it goes down. That's why it's still around, because you're trying to confirm if it's a Marine or a Reaper. And obviously in the fact that it's a Marine, usually you can still get away. In this case, the probe was just not able to get there. Marine pulls back up in toward the natural. Marauder and Concussive Shells on the way through here from ByuN. A second Marauder starting up, another barracks on the way down, and just going to be seeing the third rack's also producing, so okay, cool. Well, we'll just bleep her out that bit. God damn it, that was really stupid to say. Alright, well, Team Marauders and Marine will come down. I could actually not be able to put this on YouTube now. Shit. So yeah, we have seen Hero have to fight against these kind of Marauder pushes early. He did it with an Oracle and kind of knew it was coming. In this case, Classic doesn't really have the prep necessary, and if this first Adept or Stalker gets caught away from a battery that's not even yet done, this obviously could be problematic as well. The two Marauders and the Marine will advance through, and they catch the Adept. Obviously, the Adept doesn't take bonus damage off the Marauders. The Stalker would be the golden target, and you pull probes to protect it. The probes don't get in front of the Marauders, though, so the first Stalker goes down. Stalker on the high ground will likely fall as well. It's going to start moving to the low ground, though, because of the battery. Obviously, no second Marauder means the damage isn't there to kill the Stalker. So we targeted a probe instead. We get a couple. They go all the way into the main base, and that obviously, if nothing else, drags these units deeper into the main. And by dragging those units like slightly deeper into the main base, you have less chance that these units are then just going to walk across the map and cause trouble. At least immediately gives you more time for this bunker to get up, just in case Classic has some sort of plan there, or some sort of reasoning to go across. You may as well just go deeper at that point instead of just sitting still and dying, right? It is just a better thing to do. Even if 9 times out of 10 it makes no difference, it's playing for that 1 time out of 10 that it does make the difference, right? Well, bunker full of Marines. Blink is going to be finishing in a few moments. Our probe still just kind of coming and scouting around. Going to deliver a few minerals back to the Nexus. And yeah, that Blink is going to finish. So we can get on the map if we want to now with Stalkers. It's only 2 gateways. It's not a lot of pressure. But if you just want to take some light map control, this would definitely be the time to start doing so. Plus one attack upgrade starts up on the engineering bay, our starport in the main base. Sets up as well. The reactor is coming through on the factory. And that open online, the combat shields building. Just going to be having the single marine of ByuN begin to make its way out down to the bottom side of the map. Marine ByuN's just going to stem in, and the Stalkers will get rid of that Marine. So Marine will fall, the probe taking some damage. I'm just going to be seeing the extra gateways we're producing right now from Classics to just bring all of this up. It's a big push from ByuN. It's a lot of units. Obviously, that's the power of getting those 3 racks up quickly, and we will start to move on to the map. The medevacs are on the way to meet this as it walks, just to speed up this entire process. The timing is going to work out nicely. Obviously, the medevacs can fly across the ledge, so yeah, they even picked up the last few reinforcements. Now there's a depth sitting on the watchtower, sees it coming, so perfect information from Classic. He knows that this attack is on its way. As our battery will do a little bit of healing onto the sentries and stalkers, and we'll have our bioforce coming over here. I'm going to start stemming up this ramp. Force fields go down, blocking off the bio army. A couple of the sentries go down, a couple more stalkers warp in. I mean, it's honestly not a bad trade from ByuN, I think. You get rid of a bunch of the sentries, and they are expensive units to replace the kind of, you might still want to keep around as the Protoss player, because it can be very useful to have sentries, right? So, even if it's just Guardian Shields, Force Fields, I mean, everything the sentry does is actually very useful, so I imagine that there was a target to pick off there. That's probably one of the better ones. Stalkers and the Immortals still hanging out on the ramp. The Bioforce turns around. Real cluster of units here as they sit out down on the south and wait for, again, just a chance to kind of find a fight. I mean, there's not a lot of zealots. There's obviously just 2 split armies right now. Obviously, if ByuN walks into the middle of this, that could become very bad. I feel like he's hunting the army in the top left. He's going to turn on the bottom right, and actually this army from the Classic has not turned around very quickly. So now, ByuN kind of controls this position. No sentry energy, so there's no way to stop the bio running up into the natural, if that's what ByuN wanted to do. He didn't in the end. He kind of just decided to fight the army. That leads to the Zealots getting a pretty reasonable flank, because that army did eventually turn around on the left side. It was just the initial jump that Classic wasn't responding to. Honestly, I would say this goes... I mean, the supplies tell me ByuN, but I feel like for Classic, it felt like it was going to be worse than that. It felt like ByuN was going to be in the natural unstopped, or it really felt like that army on the left side was not going to have anything to do with the fight, and that ByuN was going to clean through a lot of stuff on the right before that army on the left got back to position. So the fact that Classic kind of comes out of this at all, I'm kind of happy about, because it just feels like that could have been so much worse. I really mean like so much worse. So let's go up to the top left. As ByuN continues to move all the way down to the south. Bio is going to get kind of caught up. A couple of Widow Mines going off, and the Zealot's taking some damage. A little bit more Marauder Marine coming through, and that's the counterattack dealt with. That's obviously a pretty good sign as ByuN puts himself between the bases again. Disrupt on the ramp, and ByuN kind of wanted to go for it, then he split away from it. He obviously took a few units of losses because the Disruptor was just very nearby. He does kill the Colossus that just popped out the Robo, so he's going to deny that splash damage from truly taking to the stage for a while here. As he works his way back to the left, he wants a cancel on the 4th base. I don't think he'll get it. The Protoss army obviously will give chase and will protect this position. It's going to see how Zealot's continuing to go all the way up the left side right now. Just going to continue out down to the bottom and just going to be seeing a lot of units making their way across the map right here. So just continuing all the way across. Just going to have ourselves a big push in very shortly, perhaps. Our Vikings still pulling back though, and we got yet another counterattack from ByuN, from Classic that ByuN has to turn around and deal with. So see, these few zealots will get nuked. Well, I mean, we're talking about a 2-2 set of upgrades done from ByuN finally. Obviously, you usually do delay your upgrades at this point in the game because you want to typically go into Vikings and Ghost at first, but now he can afford the 2-2 as well. And ByuN still just maintaining that supply lead, but seemingly having a bit of difficulty kind of closing out a fight or anything of the game. It is just a big map, and that will build into this. You know, the fact it takes ByuN so long to get across the other side, he's always going to be missing a chunk of units that would have been his reinforcements, because they're always just lagging behind that much on a map of this size. And Classic gonna have, you know, if ByuN's out of position on the bottom side and then Classic hits a counterattack like this, all of a sudden you're talking about, you know, it taking a long time for ByuN to get back to deal with this. The Ghost Academy dies here along with 11 SCVs. Honestly, that might just be enough damage considering a chunk of Zealots get out alive as well. It's the kind of damage that I think actually starts to put Classic into a winning position in this game because, you know, it's SCV losses. On top of that, it's, you know, tech going down. And you just got no trade out at all for ByuN, and you lost your chance to be out on the map, so Classic is going to be feeling much better now that ByuN isn't just lurking around every corner, lurking down every ramp, waiting to grab a fight if he does move around a little bit with this army. What place to build tech? It kind of is, right? It's one of those scenarios where he's like, shit, I need a Ghost Academy, boom. Select the unit, build it, bam. You know, just back to being like instantly. I think Ghost, like, sometimes it can be okay that act as a bit of a wall, but like, I think on a map this size, it's very likely you lose parts of your base when you're under counterattack. So it was a smaller map, I could maybe get behind actually it being there, and it's just whatever. On this map, I think it's very, yeah, very risky and absolutely getting punished a little bit. And again, we rebuild it, it gets back online. It's not going to be a major issue in the end for ByuN, so not the end of the world. Big push of ByuN heading down to the south. Continuing to move across here. Going to actually get a bit of a stim up this ramp. And, well, a couple of disruptors will get nuked down instantly, so they just disappeared. And now these Zealots and Stalkers will get their chance to try and get on top of this bio. And, well, a few force fields just holding ByuN off. Again, ByuN just with a small army, considering everything he could potentially have. He just has so much of it left back at home still. And again, part of that is the size of the map. This time he just didn't really bring much. This was more of a drop than an army push. He's going to stay split on the map as more ghosts arrive for him. You'll see him pushing down the left side. This army can retake position on the right. And of course, during this, even just Prism speed on the way from Classic, who looks for more harassing opportunities of his own. He did not see this army coming across the map, so he's going to lose every probe on this left side base, losing track of this force, or just never picking up on this force in the first place. Yeah, very costly as ByuN kind of gets caught over here. Man, those are some low HP medevacs playing the evacuation game. There's now going to be another base going down. Oh, if ByuN had preemptively EMP'd that, there wouldn't have been a recall. Never mind, just kill it before the recall goes off anyway. Suddenly Classic says, I kind of have to go. I'm losing a lot back at home. He obviously doesn't have a lot over here, so time for me to get some damage done myself. The EMPs have been brilliant, though, and the Vikings are going to get rid of every Colossus, and now this army comes back from the other side. What can we do? Can we get rid of these disruptors? They're going to be the one thing that causes complications. I think in general, ByuN's got to be smiling about this. He just needs to clean this up. And once he realizes the situation, I think he can only be happy because, yeah, you got rid of 2 bases across the map, and you really didn't lose much yourself apart from an army that you've pretty much just traded out anyway. This force just continues to have another disruptor shot fires, and the Bioforce backs away. Come through, a couple of these Marauders going to get shot at, a Marine having to dodge back as well. I'm just going to see one more disruptor flying through right then as well. So just again, a bit of damage being dealt, going to come through, grab ourselves a Widow Mine. It's a good connection with that Disruptor, by the way, getting rid of a few of these Ghosts. Now some Marines and another Widowmine getting picked off as well. Another Disruptor shot comes through to the sides. Liberator sieging up. We've got units on the back end that are going to get cleaned up too. Man, Disruptor shot after Disruptor shot just landing. SCVs trying to repair a Liberator. This push from Classic is doing work. I'm worried that it's only really Stalkers left. I would love to see just a couple more Zealots here help through these SCVs. In fact, there are a few Zealots I didn't notice that were helping through SCV cannon. That goes a long way. Disruptor shot fires through. Disruptor just connects on the depot. Another Disruptor shot comes in. The depot goes down again. A few more Stalkers will produce here from Classic. Goes down dive forward. 2 Disruptors go down. We lift up into the medevacs after killing the 2. Obviously dodging away from the other shots. ByuN finally losing out on a base. Classic getting something in return for those bases that ByuN killed a while ago. This is obviously just starting to come much more down to the army trades. And can ByuN actually keep up enough to stop Classic from swarming him right here and now with those reinforcements of gateway units? If Classic just has enough, it can be very difficult for ByuN to ever really fight it off. And that's maybe part of the issue that we're starting to see develop here. The command center is going to go down, so that is a pick-off, and just going to be having our rest of our army here from ByuN making its way down to the south. Another Disruptor shot still comes through. Just going to be having more units here from ByuN begin to move across the map. He grabs a prism out in the bottom corner and just going to be having the force of ByuN and Classic kind of, you know, testing the waters. Both of them middle of the map, looking to potentially trade. ByuN wants to kite away. Classic looking for ByuN to overextend, leap onto that army. Oh, I apologize. Big Disruptor shot off on the side. Looks like he's got maybe a Marauder and a Ghost. Maybe not massive. Just a couple of higher tech units going down in it, though, still expensive. Another Disruptor shot just lurking that prism, trying to find what it can. At this point, Classic and ByuN got to look at this game as really anybody's game. So any little bit of harassment you can find. I mean, this space obviously being scouted just as it gets set up. This is the natural expansion relocated. That's the kind of game we're playing here. Low eco. You know, it's not super low eco, but it's not like late game, money abound, everybody's mining, right? Massive Disruptor shot there as Classic kicks some momentum up the right side as well. Stalkers and Zealots continue to come through. Follow the command. Taking a lot of shots is going to get picked off, so that is going to fall. I mean, again, just as we get one base in the top left, we lose another somewhere else. Only 3 bases on the map here for ByuN, and 2 of them are orbitals, 1 a planetary, so not a lot of scans available. It's actually be a really good time for Classic if he could get the chance to just go to Disruptors. I know that's expensive and it takes a while to set up, but it could be a really good time to set up forward as he's just done a bunch of damage. He's killed off a bunch of SCVs. DTs, Dark Templar. Did I say Disruptors before? Obviously meant DTs. Setting up in Dark Templar would be a really good thing to do right now with less orbitals on the map. And just in general, like, you know, you've got the kind of momentum, you've got the map control. I'd love to see a Dark Shrine just drop down. I think it would be the one thing to really put Classic into a really good position. We're going to get a little bit of a jump on these Disruptors. We play the split away, half split, half attacking game. He blew up his own Zealots there with a Disruptor shot. Classic's like, man, perfect, got them all. He's like, wait, they were mine. Uh-oh. Now a lot of these Disruptors don't get to connect. A lot of them going down. That's the risk of playing heavily on the Disruptors. And in this case, the Disruptors really kind of failed Classic, killing his own units, not getting much of the bio, and now you've got a Zealot count that's just not doing enough. It's not overwhelming, it's not swarming, it's not what it needs to be to take on a bio army, and this is going to swing the entire game. ByuN 77 to 13 army supply coming out of this, and ByuN is on the march across to the bottom of the map. Away we go. My goodness. Okay, well, it's going to be seeing our Bioforce jumping straight over the left-hand side, going to knock down this Nexus. A bunch of probes will be falling as well. 23 workers already dropping. These Zealots will continue to charge in. The couple of Marauders, the Marine, continue to be in some trouble. A Ghost showing up also. Another sniper still trying to come out, but it doesn't even really be needed. 23 probes died, and Classic losing everything on this army. He's only got, well, the Prism basically to harass with. And his base is obviously as well been the same base for a long time. They are, running low on on resources as well. Another problem for Classic here is ByuN seems to have nabbed this one. Seems to look as though he's going to tie this up 1-1. That's wild. A great game as Classic attempts to take a gold base. That's the sort of desperation mode we are in right now. I'm just trying to sneak. I don't know if you can even sneak this gold base, because it's kind of a one you walk past all the time as the Terran if you try to attack down the bottom side of the map at all, which is generally where ByuN is likely to attack, considering that's the freshest base of Classic. At this point, we see Classic is clearly just floundering and unable to stay head above water. He'll have this one army up the left. But the first Disruptor gets taken down. The second Disruptor could hit massive, but it doesn't. And the third Disruptor will hit a single Marauder. Classic types GG. ByuN ties it 1-1. A hell of a game number 2, though. Fantastic game of StarCraft, actually. Really fun back and forth. Really cool. Just GG's. Did I miss like a big donation somewhere and I just didn't realize? Am I straight up stupid? Yes, okay, I not really missed that. It just came in. Okay. I was like, how long has this been there for? How long did I... Has this been there for like 3 hours? I just didn't say anything. Ed Bear Nom, thank you so much for the £50 donation during the break. I got a cheeky little replay on this. Thank you so much for filling the screen with the bits and stuff. Ooh, Inu's gonna lag out. Thank you so much for the donation, mate. I really appreciate the generosity. Thank you so much for supporting the content, the tournaments, and all the rest. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, so this is a bit of a shame because ByuN Classic Game 3 is obviously kind of just means that casting games 1 and 2 might not be as great later, but I think we'll probably still do it because I just want to draw out the stream for a while today. So I'll get these first couple of games of this match and replays, but obviously we'll cast Game 3 right now. Get this going and see what will happen. TvP and third map. Winner gets to play Hero in the finals today. Classic's been looking good again lately. Obviously, he did really well at Katowice. I really felt like his open bracket run was really sick, like really solid, just getting straight through. Looked really good. Yeah, just at times Classic just looking really, really sick. So excited to see him playing well, and obviously cool to see him sign up. He didn't check in yesterday, and I feel like yesterday he's one of the players that just looked at the last sign and was like, yeah, you know what, I'll let Maori and people qualify today, and I'll come play tomorrow. And here he is, qualifying through. And obviously now 1-1 against ByuN in this semi-final match as we fight for some additional prize money, sponsored by OSC, by the way. Deb trying to fight against a Marine for a handful of moments. Will I invite Innovation if he doesn't qualify? You know, if Innovation plays in tomorrow's qualifier and doesn't qualify, there's a very good chance I invite Innovation. I was actually thinking of inviting Innovation to my WardiTV Winter Championship event that he played a qualifier for a few days ago. So I was kind of thinking about doing that, but I haven't quite decided yet, so that's also a possibility. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not really going to think about the invites until I see everyone that's qualified. Then I'm going to look at who played in the qualifiers as well, because I really do appreciate the players that come and play in the qualifiers, especially if they play in all three, because that's the kind of stuff that helps us out a lot, right? Us being able to run yesterday, today, and tomorrow qualifiers because people come in and sign up and play really helps us out, because it just gives us 3 extra days of content on a tournament, and for this event it gives us 3 extra days of promoting the big event, right? So yeah, I'm going to figure that out once. I've not really thought about it all really for this event. I'll figure it out once we round out. Ideally, I'm just going to invite people who have tried to qualify. As my plan is. Cyclone is going to reach over and kill off an Oracle. So that's a really good setup from ByuN, who is now going to counterattack. This is really bad for Classic, because now without an Oracle, the Cloak Banshee potentially is more dangerous as well. And that's going to be the follow-up here. Oh man, I actually think Classic is in some trouble. This push alone, and if not this push, the Cloak Banshee follow-up I think we're talking about multiple combinations of just danger that Classic currently sits in. Now, ByuN is going to get turned away by 4 Stalkers. The Cyclone gets lifted by the Phoenix, so we start to target that to take the Phoenix out of the equation. Stalkers pulling back towards the Natural. Just going to be seeing the Marines, the Banshee, the tank all on the way out, and additional barracks being brought up into play as well. Just going to get that charge on the way too, by the way, so just get that started up. And the Banshee just going to work around over to the right hand side. Stalker gets an SCV, just going to work its way through the depot. A second SCV going down. Just going to be seeing the Banshees, like I say, set up. So in the end, the first push of ByuN didn't do much. And it's going to be, again, just the Banshee showing up. There's no battery in place either. This has potential for so much damage because you're going to have to build an Oracle. And the thing is, if the first Banshee does a lot, the second Banshee will do a lot too, because you're going to build an Oracle as your detection. You're going to revelate this first Banshee, and around that time, Banshee 2 is going to show up as well. It's actually really bad for Classic, who saves one probe, fortunately, because it ran into the assimilator, but and you got a chunk of probes just here, and we aren't even building a freaking Oracle yet. Classic, you need detection, buddy. Finally, the Oracle starts, but that took a while. I wonder if you're just losing too much income because of the probes pulling away. 7 workers, a massive probe pull. A Hellion! Hellion, go! No! Hellion, turn onto the probes! Oh my goodness. Honestly, just a shot or 2 off the Hellion would have obviously made it so much easier for them, the Banshee, to do so much more. Obviously, now Banshee number 2 is not going to be as effective because the batteries are finishing. 15 workers going down. This is where maybe the 2 Banshees should join up together, but again, it's an Oracle-based defense, so you're going to have a revelation. The Banshee is going to drain this battery on the 3rd base. We're now at 18 workers killed. We've killed off in the Natural, and we have the revelation to kill off in the 3rd base. Obviously, the first Banshee actually ran out of energy. It took that long to deal with this. 19 probes going down, though, is going to set the stage for ByuN to be in a wonderful position. Tank will come forward, we'll siege up. Our Bioforce still gathering up in the main base. A couple of reactors, tech labs going down on barracks across the main as well. A little cheeky revelation down on the front lines, and just going to see this command center is going to be placed on the 3rd very shortly here. As yeah, just a solid opening from ByuN. The Cloak Banshee shows up at a time when Classic wasn't ready for it. Obviously, losing the Oracle really doubles down on just how dangerous that Cloak Banshee turns out to be as well. It's a massive part of it. If the Oracle doesn't go down, this is maybe like 5 or 6 workers. You get caught off guard, Oracle turns home. Now Classic's attacking into a death sentence, and that's going to be an easy cleanup from ByuN. And yeah, he just macroed behind this. I'm not sure what Classic was hoping for. ByuN had just made some macro mistakes or so. I feel like that's the only thing he could have been hoping for there. There was really not very likely it was going to go well, as ByuN chases all the way across the map. All these Stalkers taking a ton of damage. Gonna go charging through. The Zealots are going to come forward as well, and the Bio will once again try and escape away. Well, Cyclone shots extra, but it is going to fall down too. And obviously ByuN just going to be in a great spot. We're going to see second facility in a Robo Bay actually from Classic to try and stabilize into some amount of proper splash damage, or maybe even just disrupt us as a Hail Mary play right now. Phoenix, the Oracle, going to go out around the right-hand side. Just going to see the couple of additional ghosts coming out from ByuN as well, so getting those popping, and we'll have a couple of SCVs still just being lifted off and taken on down. TvP lands on the Immortal. Archon taking some shots as well, going to go up this ramp, and well, a lot of Zealots already being cleared out here, so a bunch of Zealots getting beat up on, and I mean, there's just not a lot of Protoss. ByuN gonna have this game through, I think, in the bag. As he pushes through, the Immortal survives because of the super battery. 2 Colossi are still kind of scary, but the game is absolutely over. Are we actually going to have to remax and go again? This goes to the VMP as well. No! The possibilities are slipping away. And Vex will go boosting into the natural and unloading over there. As you have the Marauders will jump forward. Fallside taking some damage. Marines is coming through. A lot of probes continuing to go down. That's going to be GG's. ByuN takes it 2-1 in this best of 3. Like I say, we're going to come back and cast games 1 and 2 of this a bit further down the line. Grab those replays. But for now,